Welcome to Lesson 57, Fractions, Decimals, and Percent, Part 2. So let's get right to it. All right, here's our objective. There's our vocabulary. All right, so write 3/8 as a percent. So this should be worded a little bit better, but there are two ways to do this. So 3/8 as a percent. 3/8%. There you go. This is not what most places would want. They would want it as a number, as a whole number, and not as a fraction. So let's look at another way to write 3 as a percent. So 3/8. We know we dropped a 3 in the box. 8 goes into 0. 8 goes into 3 0 times. Put our dot on top of the house. 30. We get 3. 28. Now 3 times 8 is 24. What am I thinking? 60, 7, 56. Subtract, we get 4. Add a 0, bring it down. We get 5. So 0.375, 375 thousandths, times by 100. We get 37.5%, 37.5%. All right, so that's a way to write 3/8 as a percent. So write 23.6 as a fraction and a decimal. So we're going to do the fraction on this page and the decimal on the next page. So let's take 23.6, put it over 100 because percent means divide by 100, but you can't leave a decimal on a fraction. So if you multiply by 10 over 10, we get 236 over 1,000. Now, this one is not simplified, so we're going to simplify because on a test, on a standardized test, you will never, ever, ever see a goes 1, goes into 3 once, 16 is 8. Look at that. We can divide by 2 again. We get 250. 118 divided by 2, 5. 18 is 9, 59. Okay. So here's a little trick, and let me show you this real quick. Anytime a number ends in a multiple of 4, and we know 36, the multiple of 4, we know that 36 is a multiple of 4, or 4 is a factor of 36. You can divide by 4, and we see if we would have divided by 4, we'd have got to 59 by 250 a lot quicker. It's a little shortcut. Okay, so now let's deal with the decimal part. 23.6%. When we go from a percent to a decimal, you have to divide by 100, which means we move the decimal to the left 2 spaces. So 0.236 is the fractional form of 223.6 as a percent. Okay, so now let's order from least to greatest. We have a percent, we have a decimal, we have another percent, we have a fraction. So the best way of dealing with these is to turn all of these numbers either into fractions or percentages. Decimals. So I am going to turn them into decimals. So let's start. So 4 divided by 9. Drop the 4 in the house. 9 goes into 4 0 times. Let's put a decimal point on top of the house. 4 times 9 is 36. You get 4. 4 times 9 is 36. Subtracting, you get 4 again. As we can see, this is going to repeat. But I'm going to take everything out to the thousands place so I get a good comparison. So we know 4/9 equals 0.4 repeating. And I'll put a bar over the 4 because the 4 repeats. So 4%. So let's deal, that's the first one. Let's deal with the second one in a different color. Let's take 4%. Okay, if a number does not have a decimal or a fraction, it's always at the end. So let's take 4.0 divided by 100, and then you get, move the decimal 2 spots to the left. So 4, we took 1, 2 spot, put a 0 on the hump. So we get 0.040. Okay, because we extending it out to the thousands. And why do we do that? So we can compare all three equally. And so let's do 0.4. Well, 0.4 becomes, just put 2 zeros on the end. And now we have 400 thousandths. Okay? And now we got 4.3%. So let's do this one in black. 4.3 divided by 100. Move the decimal place 1, 2. And so now we have three numbers. And let's neaten this up on the next page. And so what you would have to do is put your numbers in order of what's the smallest and what's the largest. Okay, so we had 4/9 equals 0.444 repeating. 4% equals 0.040. 0.4 equaling 0.400. And then 4.3% equaling 0.043. And so now, let's mark them. All right, 40 is the smallest, 43, then 400, and then 444. So now we can see that they're all to the thousands place. We can put them in order. So 4% is the smallest, 4.3% is the next, is bigger. 0.4 is way bigger than that, and then 4/9 is the largest of them all. And this type of question is very common on a lot of standardized tests. You'll see, numbers in equivalent forms, different forms, but similar values, and you'll have to compare them. So this is not uncommon. You get a lot of practice at doing these types of problems. Okay, so that's the end of our example. I'll see you at the end of the video for the recap. Okay, so 1 out of 5,000 as a percent. Well, first thing we got to do is turn this into a decimal. 5,000 goes into 1 0 times. It goes into 10 0 times. It goes into 100 0 times. It goes into 1,000 0 times. But 10,000 goes in 2. 2 times 5 becomes 10,000. Okay, nothing left over. So 0.1232 to 10,000ths as a percent. Multiply by 100, which means move the decimal point 1, 2 to the right. And here you have 0.02%. And there you see a percentage less than 1. Problem 2. Write 0.9 as a fraction. So 0.9 over 100. You can't leave a decimal, so you multiply by 10 over 10. And we get 9 over 1,000. So that's the fractional part. Let's do the decimal part. 0.9. We're going from a percent to a decimal, so we divide by 100. And we move the decimal point 1, 2 to the left. You get 0.009. 9 1,000ths as a fraction and 9 thousandths as a decimal. You get the same answer. So it doesn't matter which way you do it. You now feel empowered to write percentage as a fraction and or a decimal. So now order from least to greatest. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what we come up with. 3.4. We had to divide by 100. And move it 2 to the left. 1, 2. You get 0.034. All right, so we're going to be moving everything to thousandths decimal place. 0.04. Put another 0 at the end. You got 0.040, 0.3, 0.300. Okay, so now all we got to do is take care of 7 over 20. Drop that in. It goes in 0 times. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 20 is 60. 10. Add a 0. 5. 5 times 20 is 100. Okay, we get a terminating decimal. And 0.35, if we put a 0 on it, 7 over 20 equals 0.350. It doesn't matter whether you put the 0 in front of the decimal point or not. Technically, it's the proper thing to do, but it doesn't really matter. All that matters is you understand how the numbers relate. So what's the smallest number? That one, then that one, then this one, and then this one. Okay, so 3.4%, 0.04, 0.3, and then 7 over 20. Okay. This is another one of those. This is part 2 of the first lesson. So, like I said before, in these lessons, teachers don't always get a chance to go over the nuances of numbers, how they relate, how to, relate fractions, decimals, and percentages to one another. So I wanted to take this time to go over these items so that you would feel more comfortable. Again, you're not going to get everything in this video. You're going to have to practice. So hopefully this will give you the step-by-step instruction on how to properly practice dealing with these things. So thank you and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video.